This video may cause high self-esteem, uncontrollable laughter, and an overwhelming urge to conquer the world. Don't get too full of yourself. You can't be responsible for how powerful you become. It's time to claim your birthright. It's time to embrace your crown. Demand what you desire and the respect you deserve. The views and opinions expressed in the video solely been attributed to personal view discretion is advised. Are you tired of not being treated the way you want to be? Are you tired of being disrespected? Do you want to have that je ne sais quoi when you walk into the room, all eyes on you? Well, you've clicked on the right video. This video is for those who want to learn how to radiate queen energy, and honestly, there's a lot of tips in here for men too. So the first principle is going to be communicating clearly. You need to express yourself, say what you mean. Don't be the girl who she doesn't know what she wants to eat. She's unsure about life. She doesn't know what she wants to look like. You never want to talk in a way that suggests that you're neither there or here. And as an overthinker, I'm guilty of this. Sometimes you're just not sure. Sometimes you don't. What the hell is the camera? Sometimes you're really not sure about things, so you just literally are question mark. But I'm talking about people who are just like, oh, well, I don't know, I think, you know. I'm like guilty of using all these words when I want to express thoughts, and I don't. I'm just like, you know, we all do it. And then the like in place of actually sitting and thinking with your thoughts to feel. All these filler words that makes you seem unconfident in what you're saying. I'm gonna use all the filler words I want because I don't care. Like it's humanizing. But at the same time, in conversations where it matters, where you want to make an impression, you're gonna want to limit your filler words because it makes you seem unconfident and unsure. Also, you need to say what you mean. A lot of you ladies, you're passive aggressive. You're in the comments like, well, this video is great, but her voice is just horrendous. Oh, well, I'll see bitch saying. What was another one I read the other day? Here we go to YouTube Studio. This is your natural voice? Not trying to be mean, it's just kind of grating. You don't want to be one of these girls who don't say what they mean. A lot of you take the long way to tell me you hate my voice. Just say you hate the voice and move on. Be clear and direct. You take the long way to call me this, that, and the third. Just be straightforward and direct. You're not any more feminine or smarter by being passive aggressive. You look weak and snarky and seedy. So say what you mean. Like, for example, I watched Candace Owens, I watched HRH Collection. I love them both, but do I agree with everything they say? Sometimes Candace is like really intense, and honestly, when I look at her, I'm like, that's a woman who's doing her job. A lot of the things she talks about, I agree with. A lot of the things she talks about, I don't agree with. But I respect her because at least she's saying what she means. A lot of y'all are weak. A lot of y'all like to go in your little forums, right on your little forums. She's this, she's that. How dare she says this, blah, 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 blah. Bitch, say what you fucking mean. You know what I'm saying? Like, no one likes a pussy. Sorry about it. People respect people who don't give up. Like, okay? So say what you mean. Communicate clearly and express yourself assertively. There's a way to express yourself assertively without being rude. If you want to be treated like royalty, you've got to be someone who's intentional with everything you do. Now, we're not always gonna know what we want to do, obviously, but like someone who's intentional about life and things. So let's say you're a guy, right? And you've got your girlfriend and you're like, what do you want to eat? And she's like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm feeling like eating. What about you, babe? And then you're like, well, no, I don't know what I want to eat. No. That's so anti-seductive. The way you would go about this is being like, babe, are you hungry? What do you want to eat? One, find out what the girl likes to eat. Find out her top cuisines, and then find out restaurants that have high ratings, high reviews, and have a little list. Have a plan, and then when you ask her the question, babe, what do you want to eat? Where do you want to go tonight? And she's like, well, I don't know. We were like, well, we could go to Kanar Thai. They have great reviews. The pad thai there is amazing. Or we could go to the Mexican is great there. It overlooks the view of Malibu Beach. etc., etc. You get what I mean? That's a lot more intentional. Sometimes girls don't want to be the one to lead. It's quite masculine in some instances. That's gonna make her submit to you. That's gonna make her treat you like royalty. Like, this is my king. He's got the restaurants lined up and things like that. So be intentional with what you're doing. Be intentional with who you are. Have goals for yourself. You want to look like someone who's ambitious and driven and just not floating and aloof and you're just existing but you're not living. You don't want to be someone who's existing on earth but not living. And a lot of y'all are sleepwalking through life. So wake up. I be cutting up in these videos. How you speak is so important. A lot of y'all are like so weird with the voice comments, like you never heard a woman talk before. What's going on? But how you speak is important because how you speak and your voice represents your personality. So you never want to talk in a monotone. In finance, they train men to speak very flat, very monotone, and news anchors too. They speak in a tone that's neutral so that they could be understood vastly. They've trained themselves to talk in a way that's neutral, that everyone can understand. As a woman, you never want to talk in a monotone because anyone who talks in a monotone is deemed untrustworthy. There's certain things like, for example, Nara Smith, for example, she's like blowing up. We all know her, beautiful girl, we love her, but she speaks in a monotone and I can see why. I mean, well, people are jealous and losers and y'all like to make excuses for why you're a loser, so y'all gonna be haters anyway. But I could see why someone who doesn't know her and watches like a video, doesn't really do their research, could look at her and be like, oh, I don't know about her. She's like, I don't know about her, like, and then they mock her monotone or whatever. It works for her. That's just how she speaks, but you never want to talk in a monotone because one, you look untrustworthy. Two, it's not necessarily feminine. If you've ever read The Art of Seduction, which I'm sure some of you have, you should read that and learn your archetype, your seducer archetype, and then follow the things that your archetype does. So for me personally, I identify with the Siren archetype. I don't do this consciously. A lot of y'all talk about it, but I really don't do this consciously. This is literally how I speak. Can I say that one more time? Because I'm so sick of y'all talking about my voice. Robert Greene says,
the siren never speaks quickly, aggressively, or at a high pitch. Her voice is calm and unhurried, as if she had never quite woken up or left her bed.
The siren, she talks in a tone that's never rushed, never hurried. It's almost like she just woke up. Hey, like it's dreamy, it's bedroomy, it's erotic. So that's really feminine. And like, if you really think about how men talk in comparison to how feminine women talk, because all y'all just like, hey. There's a lot more inflections in the tone. You don't have to sound like a Disney princess, but just working on your vernacular is important. Personally, I really just think if like whatever voice you got, it's your voice, like love your voice, love who you are. Your voice is your personality. So you think that, oh, like I don't really like her personality, what you're probably saying is like, I don't like her voice or I don't like his voice or whatever. Okay, so I also want to talk about inflections and voices, and the way to tell someone is lying is when they inflect towards the end of the sentence. But not only lying, it's also related to anxiety. When you feel anxious, your body tenses, maybe your palms sweat. But since our vocal cords are the things we have the least control over, you'll probably notice it in the person's vocal cords. So the vocal cords tighten and then they go a little bit higher. And then I was just thinking about that. Just like, oh, it's gonna be $1,000. Like, and all of these are social cues that we pick up on without even realizing it. I mean, some people cannot read a room to save their life, but if you're a smart person watching this and you can read energy, you usually probably can tell when something's off about something. So that's something to really know, especially if you're a pathological liar. Out here, people like me, we can tell. No one's ever going to be dramatically inflecting at the end of their sentences, for you to know they're lying. It's going to be very subtle, very slight, and that's why you have to pay attention. Also, I mean, if your friends lie to you, like, you just kind of get to know the telltale signs of their lies. So I had this one friend, and I always knew she was lying to me when she'd be like dead in the eyes, and she'd be like, literally, I broke all my nails. I fell down the stairs. And then they're perfectly cut just because she didn't want to go to the gym. Also, the seasoned pathological liar like Tokyo Tony on that one interview, for example.
Do you smoke weed?
I love weed,
What's your favorite strain?
all of them. I don't inhale weed. I blow it. I smoke like 30 J's a day
How do you function?
because I don't inhale.
They tend to believe their own delusions, so they are really assertive with their points. She's talking about she loves weed. She doesn't smoke it, but she smokes 30. She doesn't even realize what she's saying. She's literally like believing her own lies. So those type of liars, it's a different social cue you're gonna have to look for. It's the
You got a job?
Baby, I own businesses. I have a trucking company, Tokyo
Oh, I was
Tony's
gonna say.
Trucking.
So
I have SHN Network. I have Tokyo Tony's Trucking. I have Prissy Tomboy Records.
Period.
I have Vivacious Hair and Lashes. I have VivaciousSkin.com. I have a lot going on.
50 businesses. Tokyo Tony Trucking. Tokyo Tony Bundles. Very bad. Paris Hilton, for example, love her. We've all seen her use her comfortable speaking pitch, and then she has her baby voice, which is good for getting things, but also because the vocal cords go glottal, they go a lot higher, and it's also related to anxiety.
Just go home. I've already been through so much. I promise I'll never go to a club again. Please, like, I can't go back to these places. Like, you've no idea. There was no convincing them, no matter what I said. So I just didn't trust them. It made me not trust anyone, not even my own family.
So that's hot, slammy. I mean, it's her slogan, her brand, all that, but I'm sure she's a ball of anxiety sometimes. In regards to my vocal fry, honestly, sometimes I just be anxious as hell recording because I've got to be thinking about where are they going to post me? What are they going to say? Like, honestly, this is not an easy job. This is not an easy job, and a lot of y'all could not handle it. You'd go crazy. So, cut me a little slack, bitch. I be having vocal fry, okay? The next principle that's gonna get you treated like a queen and king is being a person who's reliable. Nothing pisses me off and everyone else in the world more than someone who's unreliable. It's one thing, like, we all are like, I don't want to say not all of us. Let me not. Okay, relax. But we all have times where we're not going to be there and we can't really fulfill our duties necessarily. But if you're someone, it's even worse, and it's making me so mad right now, but like someone who's really enthusiastic about the promises. I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to do that for you. Oh my God, like, we're going to have so much fun. And then they literally fumble the bag. Nothing pisses me off more than that. And you know what? That makes you look like a shitty human being. So being someone who's reliable, someone who stands to their words, it boils into honesty, integrity, and coming off as trustworthy. You don't know how many men have sat in my face, and they do this. Like, if you're a beautiful woman watching this, like, you probably already know, but you don't know how many men have sat in my face, and because you're beautiful, they literally will. They talk themselves up because women fall in love with what they hear and men fall in love with what they see. I'm gonna advise you to start reserving your reactions for actions, because a lot of people just want that dopamine hit from you. Like, think about it. These losers in the comments writing nasty things, they're gonna get a dopamine hit from me replying to it, like, yeah, I got Carmelita mad, yeah, you read it. Like, think about that. Sometimes people just want a dopamine hit from your reaction. So, oh baby, I'm gonna buy you that car, you know, I'm gonna buy you that house too, you know. With me, you don't gotta worry about nothing. Sometimes they just want your dopamine hit of like, oh my God, wow, you're such a gentleman, and you're looking up in the eyes, and now you're a little softer. Maybe your hair is up and you let your hair down, and now you're flipping your hair and you're acting more erotic because you were promised something. Now you're giving all these reactions, and guess what? They never stick around. They never stick around long enough. And you know what? These people are horrible. These people are so horrible. It's kind of why so many women are bitter nowadays. Like, trust me, I know not every man is like that, but it partly has to do with why so many women, just people in general, are just bitter nowadays, because they've had broken dreams. They've been promised this, that, and the third. And if they weren't wise enough, I mean, you gotta get disappointed maybe a couple times to know when someone is just running their mouth and talking shit. That's what a lot of people like to do. They like to yap. If I were you, I would reserve your reactions for actual actions. Oh, your friend's gonna do this? You're finally gonna lose the 50 pounds? You're gonna get the house? Well, I'll believe it when I see it, okay? That's how you need to be. And you know what? That's gonna leave you a lot less disappointed. Yeah. If you wanna be respected, you've gotta give respect. Please, trust me, I looked earlier, about 55% of you watching and not hitting the subscribe button because you're a hater. Yeah, you're a hater. It's one thing about me. I always make sure if I follow someone, and maybe I don't really necessarily I follow them because I see something that I could be inspired from. But let's say they just stuck in a rut and they just keep doing the same things over and over again. And now I'm just kind of I'ma still like their posts. I'ma still engage. I'ma still encourage because I'm not a hater. A lot of y'all are haters. You're losers. Hitting behind the keyboard you're losers. Don't be like that. If you want to be someone who's respected, you need to not be a hater. It's not cute. What is being a hater doing for you? Y'all sit here and watch these videos, suck up the knowledge, and then talk shit. Just don't watch. If I'm not that girl, if I'm not smart, if I'm this, that, and the third, why are you watching? God damn. Don't be that person, please. Do not be a hater. If you're someone who if you don't like it, just don't engage, don't follow. But why you gotta sit here and be fake? Be real. That's one thing about being an Aquarius. We're not gonna sit in here and sit in front of your face and hee hee ha 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 ha. That's another thing I want to touch on. Say what you mean. Be intentional with your words. Don't just be talking to fill air. I had this one friend and she used to be you know what she used to do? She used to be coming over to me at the party, at the function, and be like, oh, and bitch, if you're watching this right now, calling you out. She used to come over to the party. Oh, are you okay? Do you need anything? And then she'd go to my friend and be like, yeah, I gotta check on her. She's the quiet, she's just kind of she's a little weird. She's just the quiet one. Bitch, I'm not weird. I just don't have nothing to say. And this is how you need to be. A lot of y'all be filling the air with words that mean nothing because you have anxiety. For what? For what? You're literally wasting your breath. It just comes off as insecure. It comes off as unsureness. Because why are you talking so much but you have nothing to say? Y'all gonna try to get smart and me in the comments with that one hot button. I have a lot to say. And you wouldn't be here watching if I did it. So please, 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 please. Be intentional with how you speak. Say less always. Be more mysterious. You really don't want people to know that much about you. You want to be that girl who is a present to be. You want to be like an onion. There's many layers to you. And you know what? I wouldn't have got to know that about you if I didn't invest that many time. That's how you're going to be more valuable.
Always say less than necessary. Law number 4. And it's the fact that by talking too much in a meeting or in any kind of situation, you make people inadvertently smell weakness on you. And what I'm trying to say in my book is a lot of communication between humans is nonverbal.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
We feel, we sense something from you, and it communicates, and we have an impression. And people who talk a lot generally give an impression of they don't know how to control themselves. Whereas people who kind of say a little bit less, who kind of speak in riddles almost, who say, yeah, that's great, I'll think about it, or whatever, gives off an impression of power, as if they know more than they actually do. Because the game of power, a lot of it has to do with appearances.
Things that people have to invest more time in are they deem more valuable. So for example, like let's say you had to clean your house, right? Well, this is not all of us because some of y'all are just dirty, but let's say you pay someone to clean your house, right? And then it's spick and span and clean and nice and lovely. But let's say you don't have the funds to afford that service anymore. Now you have to clean your house. You're gonna take a longer time to make a mess because you actually appreciate the effort that went into it. So people appreciate things they spend a lot more time on. The next principle is gonna be setting boundaries for yourself. You need your own little personal rule book. Like what are the lines? And you need to set these up and have them be clear. So because if you don't stand for anything, you're gonna fall for nothing. So you need your own little personal rule book with your little personal boundaries. When you get in your relationship, be like, listen, mother, you cheat on me, we're done. You know, have your little rules, have your little personal rule book, and don't let anyone cross that boundary. The moment, like, okay, so I'm not combative, I am not confrontational. I know it seems like it in these videos though. I mean, but at least I'm real. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm not on here like modeling and just like, hey guys, like the girl, oh my God, this one girl. It's so funny because it's like you'll watch her. Well, like some girls, they're so concerned about being so perfect and like just like the right angle and just like they're yelling, but like they're not actually yelling. There's no emotion behind what they're saying because they're just sitting there trying to look perfect and pretty. Be real. People respect people who are real. Anyways, I was saying all that to say I'm not a combative person, but you only get one time. You only get one fake laugh out of me. You only get one fake laugh out of me. Like any tall girls watching this, but you know, like sometimes dudes, they think that flirting is like talking about your height. This dude, this short ass dude, probably like 5'2", at the gym a couple days ago, he stood on the little weight and he was like, I'm as tall as you now. Honestly, you only get one fake laugh out of me. And it's gonna be like, ha 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 ha. But if you come out of your mouth to me more than once, you're gonna get put on blast.
You don't have to love me. You don't even have to like me. But you will respect me.
That's how you need to be. Do not let anyone disrespect you. Don't let anyone talk crazy to you and come out your mouth, because you know what? You're gonna be mad when you walk away from that conversation. You're gonna be in the shower like making up all the scenarios of what you should have said. No, the moment someone disrespects you, you need to correct it. Because you know what people like to do? A lot of you like to talk shit, and a lot of y'all are really shady. So what people like to do is like, oh, you're looking a little tired today. And then you like a dumbass is like, oh, well, you know, I had to feed a kid. You know, I went to the, you know, I had to clean my house. I had to do this. I had to do it. My man left me. Like a dumbass, giving them more insight and intel on your life so they can be more condescending to you. You need to check people right in those little instances.
I was taught that keeping quiet kept the peace, until I realized, whose peace is it keeping? The offender's at peace, the people who don't want to deal with it at peace, and I, in this little body, am holding all of the war. So I don't want to hold it anymore.
I know, like, some of us are not that quick or witty. Some of us are, though. I like admire that. I wish I could be as like witty as Shira Seven. Like, she'd be on it. But a lot of the times these things happen. They happen to all of us, where people say these little shady things that like you're thinking about it later and you're just like, you're really thinking about it and you're like, oh, that's what that meant. But when it happens so quick in a moment, you're just kind of like, just like really uncomfortable. Stop doing that. And I'm talking to myself too. Like, don't let people come out of their mouth to you, because you know what? They know what they're doing. Like, people who are trying to make you uncomfortable know what they're doing. So make them uncomfortable. Give it right back to them, because you know what? Flip the script. Make it boil. But yeah, now Stop letting people disrespect you. It's not okay. It really isn't okay. Well, what if they're my parents? Still though, no one respects someone who just gets stepped all over. You don't want to be that person whatsoever. Queens and kings are magnetic. So you need to be able to make yourself magnetic when you walk into the room. And the way you do that is by stimulating the 5 senses. You need to be visually appealing, audibly appealing. You need to smell great. You need to feel soft. You ashy bitches need to get you a little shea butter with a little shimmering reflexes in it, okay? And if you're white and you're light skinned, get you a color that complements your skin tone. It's gonna look really good. This is how you make yourself more magnetic. I've already talked about this in a lot of videos, but you know, the jewelry, the dangling jewelry, like things that shimmer in low light. So you see the little gem right here. Like imagine you're at a party talking to me in slow light. I'm just like getting in your face and just like you see all these like little gems, the lashes, all this. You see anything in the comments about my lace lifting, you racist. You guys know this, aesthetics and tools, beauty, it's a way to manipulate the world. Makeup, clothing, fast fashion, these are all ways. To me, fast fashion is a necessary evil for mating optimization. So most people are trying to get ahead, they're trying to appeal to others. So like, I mean, I guess guys can get away with this because they're not valued for their looks or anything, but I've heard guys say like, you know, like, well, I only wear one color and I only wear the same thing every day. I have different shirts and stuff just to make it easier for me. It's like the billionaire's way. It's one less thing to think about. But women, we could never do that. Like when it comes to like manipulating the world and trying to appeal to the other sex, and not even just the other sex, just other women, because you know what, they like these pea brain bitches be on here like enforcing the patriarchy. They be policing women more than men. I remember one time I was walking down Wall Street with my friend and this girl was with her boyfriend and she was so beautiful. She had this like satin midi dress and she had like a nice body and she looked amazing. And like this like, of course, this broke looking bitch like was walking behind her and she was like, oh, where is she going wearing all of that? Why is she wearing all of that? Like, she just wants attention. Mind you, her man is looking at her and probably thinking she looks so beautiful and I wish this one actually put herself together to look like that. So a lot of these women are out here policing other women for their aesthetic choices. And I feel like if you're from like maybe the Caribbean, like a stricter culture, a lot of our parents, especially if they're religious, they were kind of grew up kind of sheltered. So they look at things and they're like, why she wear heels? Where she think she go? Why she got red nails? She's a whore. And all these things literally just, you don't realize it. You really don't realize trauma until the years later when you're just like, why am I hesitating to do red nails? Or why do I feel like I'm doing something wrong by putting on extra blush? You don't realize you're traumatized from like repressed women like enforcing their opinions on you. That's not a good life. See, this is what makes a queen. A bitch who does what she wants, says what she means, and marches to the own beat of her drum. This is what people aspire to be like, and this is what people respect. You know what? A lot of these haters that hate on me so bad, honestly, they may not like what I have to say. They might have a completely different opinion and they're entitled to that, but you know what? They do respect me and you will respect me. If you didn't, why are you still talking about me? You don't talk about people you don't like. You don't talk about people you're not interested in. Trust me. When I see something I don't like, I hit that scroll button so fast. Another thing that's gonna make you more queen-like is by never putting anyone on a pedestal, not even me. Like, please don't put me on a pedestal. I'm on my own pedestal for me, but don't put me on a pedestal. Why are you putting people you don't know on a pedestal? Because that just makes you a fan. That puts you in the fan role, and that's not what a queen or king does.
Have you had fans come up to you and they be like,
cry?
You calm them down like I'm just a human?
No, I be like, bitch, what is wrong? Don't do that shit to me, because what you doing, Slim, God could be wanting you to watch him and pay him attention. You doing all this to me. He'll smoke me to get your attention. Don't do that.
What I find is a lot of people will put people on pedestals, and then when they meet them and they're not up to what they want to be, or like up to like the fantasy they had in their head. When you're putting someone on a pedestal, you're automatically saying that you're not good enough. That's what it is. There's nothing wrong with aspiring and being inspired by people, but to put someone on a goddamn pedestal, which is what a lot of y'all do. A lot of people blow up on the internet, literally normal ass people who were just talking shit on the phone, on the camera, walk around, went viral a couple times and now they have a career. You put them on a pedestal when they're just literally just like you and I. I'm just a girl trying to make it in the world here. So if you want to be a queen, if you want to be treated like a queen, no one is above you. Everyone is equal. Even the celebrities, you might have respect for people, but you know what's super unattractive? And there's nothing wrong with this. Artists are gonna love when you compliment their work, but when you come at someone with fan energy, like, well, I love you, oh my God, like, I can't believe I'm seeing you person, that's so unattractive. Makes you feel like, thank you. Like, don't do that. Don't be that girl. It's not cute. It's not attractive. Always say less. Robert Greene says this: if you want to be more mysterious, if you want to have a longer lasting connection, if you want things to unfold at a decent pace time, say less. A lot of y'all be out here throwing out your life stories because you want people to understand you and understand why you are and why your mom did that and how you're crying, blah, 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 blah. You want people to understand you, but you don't realize you're turning them off. Like, why are you getting so deep so fast? Say less and let your body do the talking, okay? This is why girls need to go to the gym and start working on your aesthetics, because you know what? When you are at a certain level of beauty, you can say less, and it's very interesting because it's really, really interesting because you can really, it's so weird. It's literally so weird. Like, I've had my friends tell me that, like, other people will come up to, like, him and be like, oh, does she even like me? Like, I don't know. Like, she doesn't really like, okay, basically, when you're hot, people expect you to validate them. So even if you're, just sitting and minding your business, maybe you're feeling a little shy, maybe you're feeling a little bloated, maybe you're just thinking about your dog at home. You're sitting there minding your business. You don't got much to say. Now other people with their anxious ass and their insecurities are gonna look at you and be like, oh, well, she's stuck up. She's this, that, and the third, etc., etc.
The liberating fact is you go around thinking everything is personal. Wow, that person was cold to me in that meeting. God damn, they don't like me. They're a bitch. Something's fucking wrong with her. You go around, everything is personal. Oh, why did he say that? Why is my mom telling me this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm telling you, it's not personal. That's the liberating fact. People are wrapped up in their own emotions, their own traumas. They're reliving things from their childhood. They get angry at you, but you're not really the trigger. The trigger is something that happened to them when they were 4 or 5 or 20 or whatever. So to realize that it's not personal, that people are acting out of their own dramas, their own traumas, their own emotional problems from way back should kind of take all the burdens away from you.
If you're not in their face like, hey, how are you? You're so amazing, they're gonna call you a bitch, especially if you're hot. So I want you to stop over-explaining yourself. It's very unattractive. Someone who over-explains themselves, you could tell, you know what, I can tell, like, this is what this is what it is. I'm gonna break it down for you. A plumber came over yesterday and he literally, one of those guys or girls that just talk your ear off. They just talk your ear off. This is a thing that happens when you get hot and you reach your aesthetic goals. People want to take up your time just in general. It's not just men, but they want to soak up your time. You'll have somewhere to be and they will just keep on making conversation and asking questions where there wasn't a question that should have been asked. So a lot of people are going to want to take up your time and soak up your energy, which is not fair to you. So stop okay, how to stop? So literally by saying less, you have so much power if you think about it. Me saying less at a party, got these bitches over here talking about she don't like me, she this, that. Say less. Honestly, it's the way to go, because you know what? Are you a monkey? Why are you performing? Stop performing for these people. Say less and let people unwrap that onion. It makes you more mysterious, it makes you more seductive, and it makes you automatically look more confident. Robert Greene says this: if you're talking, if you're answering and saying things that weren't asked. Like if I asked you, how was Cabo? And you're going off telling me about the waiter. Oh, wait. Okay, not a good example. Okay, let's say I asked you about, oh, do you live in Manhattan? And then you start telling me about how you live in a 5-story building and your neighbors are this, and you know, your walk and your coffee is so great in the mornings and blah, blah, blah. You get where I'm going with this. Y'all be like giving way more details than you need to. And I know, I understand it's because you want them to like you, but kind of does the opposite. So always say less, let your body do the talking, let people try to figure you out. You don't want people to figure you out all the way. That's kind of the chase and the mystery and the fun about it. But literally saying less, one, makes you more confident, but also it increases your appeal and attractiveness. In some instances, you're gonna have to say more. In certain goals, let's say you have a goal to manipulate the room, manipulate the man, then you're gonna have to say more, but bitch, still say less even if you're saying more. Okay, so the next principle is dressing to impress. Dressing well, dressing atypically feminine and atypically masculine. So personally to me, like, I remember seeing this one girl on Wall Street. She had like a short buzz cut, and typically women cut their hair when they get older because it's just easier. And honestly, hair is annoying. What the fuck? I remember seeing her. She had like a power suit on. She was walking with a purpose, and I personally thought queen. Like, I love that career fashion and just like stock exchange woman. I love it, but in most people's mind, that's not the subconscious image of what a queen looks like. I want you to take a look at these cards. They all have things in common. Queen of Cups, long gown. Empress, long gown. Queen of Pentacles, long gown, jewelry, has a crown, long thick hair. I want you to think about the subconscious image of the word queen. When you hear the word queen, what comes to mind? You're thinking long dresses, flowing hair, maybe jewelry. And when you think about the word king, you're thinking tailored suits, long beard, nice shoes, really polished. I'm not saying you have to have long hair to be perceived as a queen. Oh, well, I don't need long hair to be pretty. I shave it on my head. I'm pretty just this way. I agree with you. If your face cut is a 10, shave it all off. You know, not a lot of girls could do that, but if you can, go ahead. But what I'm saying is, if you want to walk into a room and be perceived as queen-like, there are certain things that are associated with looking like a queen. Anything that flows on the body, anything that moves when you walk, is ultimately going to be more feminine. Think about it. The human eye is going to gravitate towards something that's flowing in the wind more so than something that's tight-fitted on the body.
I ain't going nowhere, baby. Take off your clothes. Going in the shower, you could go and shave your nose. I don't mind being slapped. I deserve the blows. You know I speak the truth. Ask God, he knows.
You go to a dinner party in the summer, you're in your white maxi dress, maybe you got a little slit in it because you feeling like you need to party a little bit. And now you've got a man looking at you and he's like, wow, she's giving wifey vibes. Oh my God. Like, now he's imagining you in your wedding dress. Part of being magnetic, part of being seductive is being able to plant seeds in people's mind without them even realizing. You don't see a girl in jeans and think queens. It's called queens, not jeans, for a reason. So another thing is walking with a straight back, having a great posture. Typically people who don't walk with a purpose, who don't walk like they're on a runway and they're just like in pursuit of their goal, people who don't walk like that are typically victims of crime and are more likely to be, you know, robbed or assaulted. People who like, one sec. So posture is really important because like a lot of y'all, you know, especially you tall ones, but just the people in general, my boobs kind of be hurting, so I be slouching. I be doing this sometimes too, but you don't want to walk like, you don't want to be walking like, see that slouched back. You don't want to look like you don't have purpose where you're going. You want to act like you're on a runway. The world is your runway, and you got a place to be. You know, the gays be walking like, there's this meme that gays be like, if you got to get to a place in 20 minutes, gays will be there. You guys are walking like gay men. Like, they walk with purpose. Like, you can't be walking slouch, can't be walking slow, because you're more than likely to be a target of crime. I'm not saying you, I mean, it just happens to you know, anyone, you know, but I'm just saying, like, walk with a purpose. The world is your runway, and we're just living in it. Like Robert Greene says, to look at every situation in your life as an opportunity for seduction. What I'm saying is life could be a lot easier, you know? Instead of being like a die-hard feminist who's like, well, I don't need to do this, I don't need long hair to be pretty, I don't need blah, 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 blah. Instead of doing all that, you literally can like, okay, this is all I'm saying. If I've got a goal and I'm going in, say I'm going out, right? My goal is to get my drink spot tonight. Simple goal. Get all my drink spot, not spend a dime. I'm going out, and I've done this before many times. I'm going out and I'm not spending a dime. I'm not gonna go out in my home attire when I feel the most comfortable, hair up in a bun, like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Because yeah, you're beautiful like that, but at the same time, I mean, is the world gonna see you that way? No. And also, people are so beyond superficial in the world, and I feel like you guys know this. That's why you watch me. But people are beyond superficial in the world, so it's called appearance bias. It's appearance bias. Like, for example, I know when I'm going into certain rooms, certain appointments, like the plastic surgeon's office, like plastic surgeons are, and they're not like this everywhere, but the ones in LA, they're like more aesthetically focused, I feel like, and they're just people who are trained to look at you as a slab of meat and be really objective about who you are. So knowing this and knowing how appearance bias works, you could be an ugly girl, you could be an ugly boy, and you'll go to a plastic surgeon, and it's so sad. You're going to the person to make you look beautiful, to fix your imperfections and stuff like that, but they're not gonna treat you as good compared to how you're gonna look after those procedures. It's appearance bias. Like, you're going to a place to get help, you're trying to make things happen for yourself, and they're not treating you like a normal human being because you don't look the part.
When I go to have a surgery, it's a very big deal. My doctors have to meet with me before and have to tell me if they've seen any omens, if they saw any owls, crows, if anyone stepped on a spider. Make sure the music playlist, no music comes up that reminds you of like your ex-girlfriend or an ex-wife or anything that's gonna make you upset because you're the surgeon. You need to be in a good headspace. If you have a fight with your wife, do not come in for surgery.
So knowing how the world works and knowing how things are superficial, like, okay, if I'm going out and I'm like not spending any money, like I'm wearing the long hair, I'm not doing the bob, I'm sorry, that's cute for the girls. Honestly, I love a bob, love the girlies in the bob, but if I'm gonna get men to spend on me, I'm gonna like have long hair. This is all I'm saying.
The thing you have to understand is the primary law of human psychology. And the primary law of human psychology is that people judge on appearances. They don't sit there and try and figure out who is the real Jordan Belfort. What is really like behind that mask? Or who's the real Robert Greene? They look at your appearances. They look at your body language, your tone of voice, how you project yourself, what you actually say, the superficial things.
Sure.
And you have to be aware of that, and you have to be able to craft it to some degree. And a lot of people don't like that aspect, because I'm saying to be successful in this world, you have to be a bit of an actor.
Appearance bias. It sucks, it's sad, it's annoying, but at least you know this and you're aware, so you can work things to your favor. If wearing pink is gonna get me free things today and I hate pink, maybe I'll just put pink on just to get the free things that I want. It's just simple like that. It's appearance bias. You know it's real, you know it's true, use it in your favor. Oh God, my throat. Got me talking in these videos. Another important principle to being treated like royalty, being treated like a king or queen, is understanding human psychology and having self-awareness. There's the hard way to do things. There's the harder way to get things. And then there's the easier way. My philosophy, and this should be your philosophy too, is work less, get more. Work less, get more money. Work smarter, not harder. So you never want to be that one girl who is, let's say you're in a group of friends and you're the skinny one, and then you have two, three fat friends. You're the skinny one in the group. You never want to be like, oh my God, I can't eat this. Like, it's like, you know, too much calories and I'm just gonna I can't eat this and blah, blah, blah. You never wanna make people in your vicinity feel uncomfortable. You have to think before you speak. Think about what you're gonna say. If I'm gonna say this, how is it gonna make the people around me feel? Is it gonna make them feel alienated? Is it gonna make them feel closer to me? Is it going to lift their mind up into a positive state? There's certain things you do not comment on. And this is where having emotional intelligence comes into play. If you're around people and they're eating and they're just getting lost in the sauce, literally, you don't comment on how much they eat, how little they're eating, how fast they're eating, how slow they're eating, because next time they eat around you, they're going to be pretty self-conscious because they feel like they're being watched and observed. You never want to make people feel like you're surveillance in a way. Another example, TMI, like making people feel ashamed for the noises they make while they're defecating. They're gonna feel so uncomfortable to ever go to the bathroom around you. I feel like this should be common sense, but apparently, it's not. Otherwise, I wouldn't be saying it. But you need to be able to make people feel safe. How are people gonna respect you if you don't make them feel safe? Okay, so I also want to touch on embracing where you are and also having emotional intelligence. So if you have emotional intelligence, you're going to be able to understand people at a deeper level, and you're just going to have self-awareness, and you're going to know the right things to say to people to make the difference in their world, and thus they will respect you more. So let's say you have a friend who's really, really sad, and they are trying to push that sadness under the blanket, but you can just feel their energy and you know that they're sad. And you inquire, you're like, are you feeling okay? Is everything okay? How was today? This, that, and the third, because you felt that. You want to be there for people. You want to be reliable. You want to be an arm to cry on, a shoulder to lean on. And having emotional intelligence will allow you to be that person. The next part I want to talk about is embracing where you are. So we're alive for the journey. We are not alive just for the destination. The never-ending human cycle is wanting for things and getting what you wanted. And then the whole process starts over and over and over again. And most humans think that if they can acquire a lot of stuff, then eventually they'll be happy. They will feel content in their lives, but it's never gonna be that as long as you're alive and you're not with source or whatever. But you're here for the journey. If you're on a long hair journey, the path to long hair is not hating your short hair. You're only going to have short hair for a limited amount of time. So what are you going to do while you have your short hair for that limited amount of time? There's certain things that only you can do with short hair. There's certain things that you can only do with long hair. Getting to long hair, think about this. If your cells are listening to you when you speak and you're talking about your body and stuff, and you're like, I hate my hair, how is it ever going to grow and be beautiful and be what you want it to be? You got to appreciate where it is so that it can become what you want it to be. So embracing where you are. When you embrace where you are, a lot of people are going to feel that you love yourself, that you like yourself, that you respect yourself. Those vibes are going to radiate outwards, and you're automatically going to be someone who's respected. Embracing where you are, having self-compassion, because then you're not going to be one of these self-deprecating girls or boys out here talking like, oh my god, blah, 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 blah. That's not attractive. A lot of people, do not like confident people, but most people, I'm sorry, the only people who like self-deprecating people, or people who just are just so pessimistic, are people who are just self-deprecating and pessimistic themselves. So yeah, and that's why I like to be around more positive people. And I feel like in my friendships and stuff, they're great because we just inspire each other to look at things from a bigger picture. We introduce a new perspective into our mind. If you're someone who's around someone who is just typically more pessimistic and they're not pivoting, pivoting will save your life. Oh my God, my piercing. Ow! Pivoting will save your life. So if something bad happens, I'm gonna sit here with my friend and I'm gonna look at the positive aspects of the situation. If your friend can't see the positive aspects in the situation, if your friend can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, you're an even better friend if you can help them to see that light at the end of the tunnel. That's what being supportive is about. That's what being a great friend is about. But a lot of y'all are just like, oh, don't like, yeah, it's messed up, we messed up. Oh my God, yeah, we ain't never gonna be nothing. We ain't never gonna do nothing. All these things. And honestly, those are the most horrible friends. You want people who uplift you, who inspire you, give you a new perspective, and you want to be that person. That's the person you want to be, because then your energy is magnetic. You're going to be the friend that they call when they're walking and they're scared and they just want to have someone to fill time with. That's the best kind of friend, when you just feel so safe with the person to call them just for like nothing. You want to be that friend. You want to make people feel that way, and that's how they're going to respect you and treat you like a queen and treat you like someone who's one of the most valuable people in their lives. Respect is earned, not given, okay? A lot of y'all want nothing for a lot. Did I say that right? Being a queen and a king is also about good advertising. So for example, you'll never hear me say, make sure to like and subscribe on these videos. You'll never hear me saying that, because if you like, telling someone to do something is only gonna make them not want to do it more. Which brings me to my next point, reinforcing someone's sense of autonomy. You're gonna be more powerful in influencing people to do what you want by reinforcing their autonomy, their sense of autonomy. They're gonna respect you. So for example, you come to me, you ask for my honest opinion, but you know, you're stubborn, you don't be listening to my advice. Maybe you're an earth sign. And you know, the way I would answer to get you to do what I want you to do is by reinforcing your sense of autonomy. What I would do is like, well, I personally think that you should go with the Everglade cream sweater from Lululemon. I feel it brings out your olive undertones and your beautiful brown eyes. Ultimately though, the decision is up to you. See that last sentence there? I reinforced your autonomy. I gave you a choice. When you give someone a choice or make someone feel like they're in control of their own life, by letting them know that they have a choice, they respect you. Then they do what you want. They go with, oh, well, I think the green would be lovely too. You've got a good eye.
If you want the power, the ability to influence people, to get them on your side, to get them to do things that you want, you have to first think of this fact that they require validation. And if you make them feel insecure about their intellect, about their morals, about their willpower, you're going to create an enemy. You're going to create the opposite of validation. So knowing the power in it, knowing the deep, deep, deep human need we all have for this, to be treated as an individual and to be respected and appreciated for some quality that we have, then use that power on other people and think of it, of how you can give them a sense of that validation. So look at those things where they need to feel validated, where other people aren't giving it to them, where there's a quality that they feel is underappreciated, and you can sense that in them, and give them that sense of you see them for who they are, and you're reflecting back to them the sense that they are important, that they are worthy of attention, that they are a decent or brilliant or whatever kind of quality that you want to reflect back on them.
So maybe you've picked up on this, but like, I be reverse psychologying y'all into being beautiful. I be bullying y'all into being beautiful and like doing better for yourself. Like, it might sound harsh, it might sound like a toxic persona, but I mean, you need to hear it that way. You do, because a lot of y'all are just, you're not responding to the chicks that are just like, you're beautiful the way you are. love your role. The patriarchy. You don't respond to that. So good advertising, part of being a queen, a king, is knowing how to advertise yourself in the best possible way. You will see me putting like and subscribe at the end of the video, at the end of the card, because good advertising is about repetition. Good advertising is about seeing something more than once, probably a million times. Like for example, the Gurananda coconut oil pulling toothpaste, whatever. I've seen a million ads on my For You page on TikTok, and probably been a month or two I've been seeing these ads. And I finally caved in and got it because I wanted to try it, but at the same time I knew I was being set up because TikTok is literally like QVC now. But I bought it, I cracked, I caved. Good advertising is only seeing something over and over again. So the more you see that like and subscribe at the end of the video, eventually you're gonna do it. Eventually it's gonna program your subconscious into doing it. So part of being a queen and a king is knowing how to get what you want without being aggressive. There are so many ways to get what you want without being aggressive or overt or very in your face. It's like how these advertisers fool you into spending all your money on like garbage. The next principle to being royalty is compete with yourself. You are the only competition that you have for now, like forever. And how are you gonna outdo yourself this time? Like, I mean, you did a good job last time, but how are we gonna beat yourself this time? I'm gonna use RuPaul's Drag Race as an example. I don't watch that show. I've never really been into drag culture, but I have friends that are drag queens, and so like I've been enlightened by that world. But a lot of like people, it's not even just Drag Race, but a lot of people will do things like go on a show and it'll be the highlight reel of their life, the pinnacle moment of their life. It'll be 10 years later and they're still posting about that one time they're on RuPaul's Drag Race. It'll be 10 years later and you still posting them skinny pics from Miami that one time. A lot of y'all do that. As long as you're alive, there's no pinnacle moment of your life unless you're like a loser, like settling and like calling it a day. But the thing about RuPaul's Drag Race and those drag queens is winning that competition is not really actually winning. What are you winning? Think about it. You know, you're fighting, you're this, you're catty, you're in drama, you're in this, you're in that. And you're fighting to be in someone else's shadow. Queens are never in anyone's shadow. A queen is on her own pedestal, doing the things that she wants. The real win is not winning that show, because then you go off and you get to do the things that you want with your life. You get to have a more fulfilling experience that isn't subjected to like a competition. Competition is for peasants. Kings and queens aren't competing. So you never, like, stop trying to prove yourself. Like I said earlier, you're not a monkey. Why are you performing? You shouldn't have to prove yourself to anyone. You don't got to over-explain yourself to anyone. You don't got to do anything you don't want to do, but yeah, you feel like you need to because you know you've got to prove something. I've got to win RuPaul's Drag Race. I've got to do this. You're like, what? You're competing? It's like, okay, don't get your panties in a twist for this, but it's like voting. Y'all are voting for a new master, casting in your votes, and then nothing changes. Why are you voting? You're voting for what, a master? It's the same thing. Like, you're competing, you're fighting against these other queens just to be under RuPaul, who's the real queen here. Bitch, you're on his show. Sorry, you're on her show. Can't be misgendering the queens. But no, like literally you're competing to be on, like, you're just competing to be in the shadow of someone else. That's not what you want to do. You're your only competition, and how are you gonna get better? How are you gonna beat yourself this time? And if you keep doing this, you literally will let me take a look at you in a couple of years looking sexy like that. Or just smarter, or loving yourself, or just radiating energy. You could have gained 30 pounds, but if you're loving yourself and you're more comfortable, like, it's all worth it. But yeah, you're your only competition. Queens and kings don't compete. The real kings and queens are not competing for what's already there. RuPaul be sitting up there making the judgments, like looking down. And you know what? RuPaul likes the queens who are just kissing his ass. God, I keep misgendering this queen, I'm so sorry. RuPaul likes the queens that are kissing her ass. Like, that are like paying homage or whatever that word is, homage. Like, no one likes that. I'm sorry, in the real world, no one likes people who are kiss asses, who are just like, they want to be teacher's pet. Like, no one likes that. So if you want to appear as like a queen-like, royalty, stop competing for what's already yours. You're in a league of your own, and it's human nature to want to compete. It's human nature to want to be better than other people. And a lot of the times we're in silent competitions with friends or siblings without even realizing it. It's crazy to think, but most people are in silent competitions like, oh, like, yeah, you know, mom's gonna love me more because, you know, I went to Harvard and I did this and all of that. But honestly, if you're in that attitude and that energy, you've already lost, in my opinion, because then you really don't see yourself on top. See yourself on top. The next principle is gratitude. I know a lot of people say gratitude. Oh, here they go. Here she go with the hippy dippy trippy stuff. But gratitude is really important. I'm gonna always say thank you, no matter if I didn't even need to say thank you. I say thank you for everything. When you're thankful, you just get more to be thankful from. And also, like, when you're really beautiful, if you're hot watching this, it's really important that you say thank you and then you express gratitude, because we already have that stigma that we're bitches and that we're like evil people. We already got that stigma of being the pretty girl from high school who everyone feared but also revered. If you've got stigmas going against you as an attractive person, you're really gonna break that ice and melt someone's heart by expressing gratitude. So even in the simple moments, like, oh, there's something on my teeth, thank you so much, you're such an angel. I mean, you don't gotta be dramatic like that or expressive. I'm exaggerating for like demonstration purposes, but little things like thank you, look them in their eyes, thank you. Like, one, it's gonna set you apart from every other attractive person that they think that they hate. People are more like, okay, like I said, at parties, people are more than likely to think I'm a bitch and just like stuck up and standoffish because I'm not like in their face validating their ego. You could just literally say a simple thank you, look them in their eyes, warm heart, and now you're the best person. You're the angel. They're running to their friends. They're like, oh my God, she's amazing. Wow, she's good energy, blah, 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 blah. So literally use gratitude as an opportunity. You don't have to be doing the most, but being gracious and grateful is the vibe for 2024. You want to be gracious and grateful. Absolutely. And you know what? People will treat you like a king and a queen because of that. People that do things for you, they don't have to do things for you. I mean, I guess some do, but even if they do, you should still be saying thank you. And like, most of us, we just actually really don't have to do things we don't want to do. No one has to do anything they don't want to do. They just do it because there's a circumstance and there's like, you know, the domino effect. If I don't do this, then that happens. But no one actually has to do anything that they don't want to do. So just say thank you. It'll make their day in so many ways that you don't know. Respect is earned, not given. So for example, like sometimes like, and this is how you could tell the person's like so low vibrational. Cause I mean, dogs are like this too. Like they'll see like another dog that looks funny, like maybe a mixed breed or a purebred, and they're like, they're barking at him. But a lot of people won't like you for no reason. Like the losers in these comments sometimes, like not all y'all. I love y'all, but you know what I'm talking about. So don't be going around being nice to everybody. Like keep that resting bitch face on until you know otherwise. Just talking about instances like that where people are just like, they don't like you for no reason. They're mean mugging you. Maybe they're in a nasty mood and they're just like taking it on you. They could eat shit. Those people, don't even bother giving them your time of day. It's not worth it. A lot of people really, like I said earlier, a lot of people just really want your reaction, especially as a beautiful woman. They will try to make you feel some type of way just to get a reaction. Cause like, trust me, I ain't looking over there. You would have never been on my radar if you didn't make that face. So Remember, reserve your reactions. Reserve your reactions, that will keep you young. Last but not least, the final principle is going to be setting high standards for yourself. So I want you to start expecting more for yourself. I want you to start getting, I want you to start getting into the groove of expecting more for yourself, because I feel like if you're from a background of poverty, not abundance, or just like you were ex-ugly person, ex-fat person, whatever, naturally you're going to take on those tendencies from that lifestyle, and mentally leveling up is equally as important as physically leveling up, because it will have you doing low rent shit for the rest of your life if you don't mentally level up. I remember I forgot the year, but I remember I used to feel like I was pretty, but like I wasn't where I wanted to be, and a lot of people told me I was so beautiful. And objectively speaking, like I knew I like didn't look horrible or bad, but at the same time, I didn't feel like the best. I remember like after I lost weight for the first time, because I've been up and down the scale like a couple times. I remember the first time I lost weight, I was just like, oh wow, I'm finally pretty enough to have a boyfriend. Like, and a lot of people feel that way. They feel like they're not good enough. But the thing is, like, if you don't do the mental level up, you will be shortchanging yourself so much. I want you to what helped me is like, after a while, I started looking around at women who were as beautiful as me. And I was like looking at what they get, look at how they operate, look at how they move in the world. And it's sad to say, but like I said, if you've had a background where low self-esteem was bred into you, you don't realize this, but you need to look at the people who look like you and look how they're operating. Some people are ugly with the biggest egos, and honestly, good for them. But it wasn't until I started looking at beautiful women like me and how they were like walking around in the world and what they were expecting for themselves that I was just like, wait, hold up, wait a minute. I deserve more for myself, and so do you, because you know what? If you keep doing low rent shit because you don't believe you're worthy of certain things, then a lot of the times you're gonna have, this is just an example, but you'll have men like coming in and seeing that you're an actual gem. People know your worth sometimes. They know your worth. They're just hoping you don't see it, or they're just happy you don't see it because they found a gem for, a bargain, and you don't want to be that person whatsoever. If you're a woman who makes a lot of money, you make more money than the average man, why are you dating down? Why are you dating down? You look stupid. You need to go where you're appreciated. You need to go to a man. It's just only going to be successful if you go to a dude who's making more money than you, because he can appreciate you, versus like dealing with someone who loves you but also resents you because you're successful. A lot of you sell yourself short because you don't realize it, but you're traumatized and you don't think you can get there. So that's why you really need to like rewrite the programming. And if you're not where you want to be at, when I was not where I wanted to be, I was never telling myself, like, I might have not been satisfied with my weight, but I was never telling myself like, oh, because I'm this, I can't do this. I never ever put a limit on myself. And all these black creators, all these black people on social media are talking about, oh, as a black creator, they don't pay us that much, oh my God. That was never my story. That was never my story, and it never will be my story. So it really all boils down to the story you tell yourself. I'm not sitting here and saying there aren't biases between the pay grade ratios and stuff. I'm sure of it. I'm sure it's there, but bitch, it's not my story, and it never will be, and it doesn't need to be your story either. Never tell yourself that your skin tone is hindering you. Never tell yourself that your weight is hindering you. If you want to lose it, you should though. But you get my point. You really don't need to be perfect to start existing and living life. And if you're someone who you're on your way to your goal, you're gonna get there. So why not start practicing being that person who's living in that body, who's living that life? Start having higher expectations for yourself. Your life is only gonna be as good. Your life is only gonna be as good as the standards you set for it. So set high standards for yourself. A lot of people have the capacity to give you what you want, A lot of people don't. That's why they fade away from your life. But a lot of people are gonna have the capacity to give you what you want. And if you're not a vibrational match to those high standards and the things you want, you're just gonna be a low rent loser, taking less, getting abused. And that one person that could have gave you everything you want is just like, you know, guess what now? They see you as less valuable because that was way too easy. Some people, like in Aries, they like challenges. They're like, a lot of people like, if it was easy to get, it wasn't that worth it. But if it was hard to come by and I had to sweat and grind, oh, my baby's calling me. Don't be the girl that's out of touch. If you're the only gender that thinks being obese with a shaved head with a bunch of piercings on your face is gonna get you where you need to be, we're the only gender that expects to be celebrated for being ugly and mediocre. Like men are not celebrating each other being fat and sloppy. And as soon as a man who eats Cheetos all day and plays video games starts saying like, well, I want that supermodel, I want that type of face, I want this, that, and that, they put him right in his place. But women, they just get a pass. There's a lot of delusion going on here, and usually, you know, I am for the delusion, but at the same time, you girls are so out of touch. Like, I feel like from a spiritual standpoint, we all are worthy, and we need to cultivate a feeling of worthiness in ourselves. It's great to have. But you cannot sit here and expect to receive big things for nothing. It doesn't work that way. Preach all you want, wave the fat flag all you want, but you can't yell at a man's penis to like get hard for you if he's not attracted to that. So I'm not trying to be like, what do you bring to the table? But I hope this video inspired you to step into your kingdom and put your crown on. Mwah! No boss.